Okay, cool, cool.
All right, all right. Welcome, everyone, to the Barbershop Talk. For Eyes and Summer presents the Oaken. Thank y'all for coming out. We've got a regular back for this episode. And Lawrence, good to have you back. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good, man. Good,
Good.
good. Good to be back in here for a minute.
Yeah, and it's good to have you back. It's good to have you back and have your presence on here today. Uh, it's always welcome for you to be here. And well, I guess let's get into it. Hey, what's good, Agon? Yo, thanks for coming out. Don't forget to hit that like button, everyone, on the way in. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And like I said before, thanks to all my new subscribers. Appreciate it. So, Lawrence, on the topic at hand, which was jealousy part 5, fruitfulness despite suffering. I guess what did you get and what was your take on everything?
Well, a couple of things. The first one right out the gate is the amazement at the level of control and discipline Joseph had not to take them out right then and there on the spot after what they did to him. Um,
Yes.
that's a serious level of control in a man for real.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and then to the fruitfulness despite of suffering. Yeah, having a dream and understanding what was coming, and realizing that even though you see suffering coming, you can still find a way to use it to your advantage, to push yourself into a better position or place than you might have been before. It kind of goes back to something you had said um, in the other recording,
Mhm.
where people automatically assume that because they're going through some kind of suffering, they can't see anything but the suffering.
Right, right.
They don't understand that. As a wise man once told me, this too shall pass. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And instead of working their way through it, and I don't mean alpha, I'm just mean, just working your way through it and handling it, to the best of your abilities, you're always going to come out on the other side.
Right, right.
And I think in order to get to that fruitfulness, regardless of your belief system, there's an understanding that suffering is part of life, and for everything you suffer through, as the saying goes, it only makes you stronger. Um,
Right,
you know what I mean? Well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
right.
yeah, definitely from that perspective. I also found it interesting from an individual perspective how I know 20 years had passed. I get that, but that the brothers couldn't even recognize their own brother. Um,
Right.
so that was interesting on a whole different level to me. That's just a side note in my head that probably has nothing to do with the story per se, but I just found that interesting too. Because it's not like they got rid of him when he was a baby, and then 20 years later you don't recognize him. That I would get, you know what I mean? But
Right.
he was a young man that even with 20 years gone by, you should still be able to recognize him. So that, I guess, in my mind, that shows what little worth he really was to them.
And also too, like that's why I pointed out too. I think that they probably figured he's probably dead by now too.
Well, this is true. This is true. Yeah, you did say that. That's true. Yeah, and maybe they just thought he happened to be someone who just resembles him greatly, I guess.
Yeah, and that also, like I said too, the other thing is too, you have to factor in they never accepted or expected him to be in the position that he is too.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
That makes sense. But but yeah, just on the fruitful, and actually, you haven't even gotten to the actual full story of the fruitfulness, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because I know your next one's going to be carrying on the story, so we haven't even gotten to the fact of the fruitfulness his father saw, knowing he's alive. And I don't want to get too much in it because I don't want to ruin your next study session. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. But
There's more fruitfulness coming.
yeah. But this is just the beginning part of
Right,
it, you know.
right.
And
And that's why I don't want to talk on it too much because I know you're going to lead into it. So
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to take away from you.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it's but yeah, it's good. And like I said, you know, I thought that the most powerful thing about it is the simple fact that through this suffering, um, he never forgot and accepted his purpose. He never forgot the dream he had, and he never gave in to the despair. He worked his way through it. He saw his solutions, and he saw that, you know, every new challenge he had or detraction he had, whenever given any type of control, any little bit, everything that he touched everything he touched and had his hands and involvement in is still nurtured from it. So that was a testament, you know, also to Pharaoh and his advisors or his assistants, whatever individuals he had that looked and noticed all of these things. Um, and then, you know, when you talked about it was a cupbearer who pointed out about how Joseph's interpretations became true for him and the cupbearer,
Hmm.
and no, and then all of his advisors also speaking of how everything that he touched, it nurtured and prospered. Everything that was under his care, it did better than it was before. Um, so I think he noticed and saw that I would be foolish to not leave Egypt under his care, especially considering the fact that he's talked about there's going to be a um, a famine,
Yeah.
and he's going to I'm going to need his influence in his hand at getting us out of it. So you know, it just goes to show the good counsel and the good sense that he also had, whereas the others, you know, had failed in their judgments before because of they let outside influences to discourage them from the help that they had received.
Hmm. Yeah. This is true, and it's interesting because everything you just said, the thing that sticks out the most to me is in the very beginning when you said he didn't give in to despair.
Right, right,
You know, and again we go back to the fruitfulness despite of suffering situation. You can't give into it.
right. I
Um,
agree.
which of course flowed into everything else you said. But I mean, if I had to like pull that summary out of everything you said, that would be it for me. Not to give in to the despair of
Right.
it.
Yeah, that was very important. It's very key to not give in to that despair and still um understand and know his value and worth.
Yep, absolutely. And as human beings, being who we are, it's so easy to do the first,
Yes,
than the latter. Which I think, and I mean, to be fair, we've all suffered it. There's nobody in existence who hasn't. I don't care what they say.
agree.
But I think that's something that I think is something. I wish I could say it could be helped through camaraderie and working together and et cetera and so on. But it's really something that individually you have to do yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does. I agree. Aegon, welcome to the panel.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
Hey, hey, going. How you doing?
LG, man, Lawrence God. Eisen Summer. What's good, yo?
Yeah. Oh man, nothing. You know, just trying to bring out this practical information here that's held and how, you know, we can take all of these things and, you know, apply them to our everyday life, brother.
Yo, I always like this story. especially after I really read it. You get the
Yeah.
kid version of it. You're younger, and then I read it a lot later. And what I always, what just made, I thought about coming at it from a different angle, but it was like this. My first thought was this. Do you remember when he had that dream?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he told his brothers like, your corn stalks bowed to mine and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I was gonna come in with the angle of not being arrogant, but the thing is that he was a lot younger than his brothers, and
Yes.
they should have saw that he wasn't trying to do that, because he was just thinking young. He was the one to tell his brothers how he felt. It was confidence, It was confidence, and the thing is that when they sold them into slavery, it wasn't because of that. They already had that in them. They were already going to do that regardless, because you don't.
Yeah. Well,
That's a huge leap,
Well, not only that, well, when you think about it too, they had originally planned to kill him.
Right,
That's
right.
true. And even before the dream, it was already established that they were jealous of him anyway.
Exactly.
Right. That was already in him to be like that. So regardless, if he was humble, they would have still been at him. It just would have just took longer to get to it because the dad was already showing favor to him.
Right.
And then he had he had a hiccup. I mean, he was always like, as you can see, his dad was always right, because when he went to Egypt, am I exposing? Am I going too deep into the story?
No, you're still here. You're still good right now.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Like, cause I don't want to. If you talk about the whole story, I don't want to go past.
Well, yeah, I just really got to the point where they went back. So I mean, it doesn't matter. We can get into it.
Okay, then you just said they already came to Egypt, right? Because the famine happened, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the part talking about not past that. His dad already showed that he was a resilient kid and saw that because the Pharaoh saw that, and then and especially being from a different tribe of people, and he rose like that, and then especially after he got accused of trying to sleep with a woman of like a high ranking woman, like that's death.
I believe he was the commander of the military. I believe.
Right. That's beheadings, but that shows that how much he was worth. That they didn't kill this this slave, and then he still rose to high rankings though. So he could have packed it in like easily, and then we're like, screw it, like these dreams that I have is causing me nothing but trouble. So why keep telling people,
Right.
They give me the wrong attention because first it was my brothers and then it was a woman. It's like, who can I trust?
Right. Exactly. True. And and that was the whole thing, it was with that one, how he resisted because she was throwing it at him.
Yeah,
throwing it at him.
She was.
And she was jealous. It showed that she was jealous of his success and she wanted it for herself. Not even thinking, because it didn't matter, because her greed overtook, not even realizing that once you go down this route and you send him out, you run him off, now you're not going to be prosperous anymore. The one who is literally making you prosperous and making everything great for you, you're driving off.
When you think about, like, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. When you think about human nature, do you think was she attracted to him? That's why she tried to sleep with him, or was the fact that she was upset that a slave rose past her?
I think she was attracted to the success.
Or it could have been both,
I think it was that, and a simple fact. Well, she was attracted to his success as well.
Right.
She was attracted to the fact that everything that was under his care, it became better, and she wanted that for herself. Her greed.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly. Yep. And that's what I was going to say. It would come into being greed because at the end of the day, the only thing she could possibly have been thinking about was the fact that if everything he touches is gold, I'm going to latch onto this wagon and ride it.
Right.
That's the only thing I can see, because outside of, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, those type of women in those positions would use slaves for sexual satisfaction, the whole 9 yards. But with him, there was something different. How quickly he rose up, everything he touched, for lack of a better term, everything he touched turned to gold. That kind of thing. Oh, absolutely, she was going to take that shot, and I guarantee you, she probably told all her handmaidens and anybody else to stay away. That's mine. I guarantee you, she did it. She used that power to do that. But yeah, I think it was for the sake of power, because of what he could do, what he could achieve, and he was still rising at the time, by the way. So
And women are survivors, so
Yeah.
they
well,
probably could see
in her case, I think it was greed, because she was already surviving. She had
Yeah,
her position.
she had yeah.
I agree. What I'm saying is that women are more akin to like survival. A lot of times they see the things that we
They stay in it. They stay in that mode.
yeah, basically. So when she saw that he was probably he was worth more than the king, because the kingdom it would have been a wrap for Egypt if he didn't come. Because basically he came with a dream saying, and I know I'm adding a lot into it. She knows. I really believe she probably knew the dream that he told that to the pharaoh, and that type of thing is like he saved the kingdom. Really, without him in 14 years they were done, or they'd have been taken over by another land. So it's like, who is this new guy? And she's like, yo, she was attracted to that, yeah. And it's like yeah, he is mine, Lawrence. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's and again, it's not a thing of right or wrong. It's like New has been teaching me and Eisen has taught me. It is what it is. This is the nature of what I mean.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I mean, so even if it wasn't him and it was somebody else, it would have happened regardless. It's just the nature of the beast.
Right. You know what makes you think about like sports, like basically working hard, sport. Let's say life period. Studying, getting your money right, working hard. It's not basically as up and down as you think it is. Where basically you think that all you need is a whole bunch of money until you get around people with less money than you but more influence, and and then like influence. It's not there's no class you can take on influence, because there's a lot of things that determine that. So you'll like him being so talented, you would think that people would embrace him because this dude gonna look out for the cookout. He, for one thing, he knows how to serve. He knows how to serve men that he's better than. He's not. I mean, I didn't think he was arrogant, because that's what most kids do. They say what's on their mind, and like, there's no instance of him showing spite towards his brother. It's just that the dad gave him the coat. So people take that and just like and damn it, like be like, oh man, like this guy could be better than me, so he out of here. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you feel like you're the best guy in medical student, like, so everybody's not going to receive, and you're helpful. Everybody's not going to receive that as he could come help like that. He could help me get with he had. He's like, no, this mother, like I can't have him around. I can't have him around. He makes me look bad,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then,
that's. I'm sorry.
What's the advice? And like your suffering will show you that. Like basically, you got to watch who you talk to. Watch who you give information to. I mean, you still have to use your gifts, but everybody don't deserve them. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, you can put yourself in some weird. You can put yourself in some situations that you didn't intend to, just because people are threatened by you.
Well, yeah, and matter of fact, that goes back to you and New and somebody else. I can't remember, on one of your streams the other day when talking to me about being concerned for me, that I share too much. You know what I'm saying? And I took that to heart. I'm seriously reevaluating. You know what I'm saying? But we run into situations, and I've seen this in the corporate world over the years. You would assume that people would be happy with him because, like you said, he's got talent. He's got no problem serving. He's got no problem, making things happen, because he's thinking about the overall picture. But on average, what generally happens is that even if he's working for someone in particular, you know what I mean, to better them, they still get upset because they don't like the fact that he knows more or he can do more or he may be better at it. It's just a stupid thing. I've seen CEOs be upset at stock boys because the stock boys might have more information or something. I mean, it's crazy. It's just what they do. I don't know how
It's
to say it.
it's because of the simple fact they're not getting the glory for it because they're not getting the glory for being the one to actually do it. I mean, it all comes to that spotlight. They want all the credit, and they want to be revered.
Yeah.
That's the problem. But so most people were more like the wife that wanted to that wanted to have claim his success and um, his prosperousness as her own. More people are like that. And also, I think the thing is to take into account the simple fact that, understanding that, you're not going to make everybody happy, but,
Hmm.
that's not your goal. It shouldn't be your goal is to make everyone happy. Your goal should be to be the best you and to be the truest form of yourself that you can be.
Yes.
Um, and
That
either they
that that
accept it
that
and like it or they don't.
yeah. That and fulfilling your purpose. Those should be the
Yes,
only two
yes, yes,
things. Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Agree.
But you're
Agree.
but you're always gonna have
Exactly.
you're always gonna have that, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And like I said, even if what you're doing is benefiting that individual, there's still gonna be that level of jealousy.
Right.
It is what it is. And more often than not, for exactly what Eisen just said, because they're not getting the glory, not realizing that they were already getting glory by finding someone of such high value.
Right.
Right.
And that, yeah, you know,
Like you can like learn from that person. Maybe they have a thought pattern that you haven't considered to like to like you haven't considered to like try to replicate, or maybe they could teach you how to spot out people just like them, so you can just not you can not have him, you have more of him, and
mhm,
and it can work things better for you because no people are islands. Like when you try to do everything yourself after you go on, it's a wrap.
yeah, yeah,
After the king dies, the kingdom goes. So the best thing to do is basically have your vice president be a little bit better than you, and then the people underneath him striving to be better than him in different factors. Like in different like criterias, and then have everybody like on some basically they learn off each other. Where basically everybody's interchangeable in a society to a degree because everybody doesn't have the same capacities. But you guys get what I'm saying.
Well, you believe in this. You believe in the sudden death theory. That's what we used to call it when I was in corporate world. Everybody should know a little bit whatever something everybody else does because you never know when they're going to die. They could be on their way to work, get hit by a bus, and all the information stuck in their head. Now the company's in a bad spot. I used to have a vice president I worked for, a wonderful man, George Fernandez, and he's one of those rare men who had the ability to literally understand when people underneath him were better at something than he was, and he pushed them forward and promote them as being the most knowledgeable people and get the hell out the way and let them get the job done. And I was one of those. I was one of those people actually. Um, so it takes a very special kind of dude to be the type of person you're talking about, where he can see that and he can let it be for what it is without his ego getting in the way. And they're very few and far between, at least in my lifetime, in my experience.
I agree.
I agree too. Um, because that usually ends up being the problem that you spoke of. Usually ends up being the number one problem. They can't get self out of the way
Hmm.
for everything to actually grow and prosper and to actually benefit from it.
Yeah, yeah. And also, in addition to that, when you have someone like him who can do that, you have to make sure you're on point as well.
True.
Because
True.
because because again, like I said, someone like Mr. Fernandez um, is a rare thing. So you don't want to abuse that relationship, that opportunity,
Right.
and
Make him look bad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the fact that he's willing to for him to put himself out there as one of the C-suite people, you got to live up to that, man.
Yeah.
And it works both ways, because the same way he's a rare thing, it's a rare thing most people can live up to that kind of pressure, or you know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree.
So both sides. It's a rare thing, and both sides have responsibilities in maintaining that relationship and the overall outcome. But yeah, it's a rare thing, and you're right, Aegon. In a perfect world, it should work that way. It
Yeah.
really should, but it doesn't.
Everybody wants to hog the information or hog all the money, not realizing that it hurts everybody in the long run.
Well, and not only that, they want all of these things, but they don't actually want to put in the work to get to that point. They just want it. They just want it free to them.
Right. Just be the man just because. Just be the man just because.
Yeah, they just want. Yeah, they like I said, they want the glory for it, but they don't actually want to put in the work to get to this point, to get to that reverence that they're looking for. It's just human nature. They just want it. They want it all for nothing.
Like Lawrence, you don't know animes. Eisen, you ever watch Naruto?
Oh yeah.
I've watched Naruto. The early days of it, but I'm familiar with it.
Perfect. I had this thought one day, and I was walking around because I was talking to my boy, and the way we was talking, he was like upset that like things don't go his way, and he was all living for himself and stuff like that. And I was like, it's cool to do to be selfish with yourself and stuff like that, but at certain points when you're not good at something, you gotta like fall back and let others let them shine, and they can help you more. And it made me think about Naruto, and I was like, later on when Naruto Shippuden came, they showed Naruto's sensei Jirai and how he came up, right? And when he was a young man, he got basically transported to this place, and he met these frog people. They were like these frogs that could talk, and they were like of the natural world. And they told him in the future he is going to train the next chosen one. And he didn't fight that. And then the same thing didn't happen to Naruto's first sensei Kakashi, but he embraced that role too. And then it made me think like, yo, everybody think they're the Naruto of this world. Like, yo, this world is meant for me. Like, I'm gonna get like if I don't save it, it don't mean nothing. Like I gotta do it. I gotta get the glory. I gotta be in this place, and not him. And then it's like there's no honor in being or there's no they act like there's no productivity in being Jirai Sensei, aka Pervy Sage or Kakashi. Like those dudes were incredibly strong, a lot stronger than Naruto for most of the series, but they were just they were there to help him, and without them, he wouldn't have got to where they need to be at all. He definitely, and a whole bunch of characters wouldn't have without their senseis. Even and it's like with a lot of people, they don't see that basically for you to become great or the greatest you can be, you have to make people better than you around you. You have to.
Well, what you're talking about is leadership.
Right. Yeah. To put it simple, yes. Yeah.
And you're not wrong, but
you're
right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you do have to have these. Leadership is important, but also knowing whenever it's someone else that needs to lead someone, also is very important. It's very important. Knowing when you can no longer help a person grow anymore. And it's best for somebody else that they can learn and grow from someone else.
Right. And that's part of being a good leader, because you first have to learn how to serve. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And then
Yeah.
in addition to knowing how to serve, you also have to know. And again, not to be funny, but as Dirty Harry once said, a man needs to know his limitations.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't solve every single problem. But what you could do, what you could do is you could be a leader who's capable of understanding the problem and finding the proper tools, assistance, and help to give to the person you're there for. You know what I mean? There's no point in being a leader if the only thing you want to do is tell people shut up and do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's difficult. It's a fine line because it's a situation where, you know, even though you have the authority to overrule, and in most cases you probably will have to do that,
Right.
but a proper leader, regardless of what time frame you look in history, what empire, what individual, anybody who leads surrounds themselves with proper people of intelligence who can give them guidance and understanding. Whether it be viziers, prophets, whatever term you want to use. Anyone who thinks that they can go in there and do it themselves and got all the answers, then they don't need to be there. They just don't. They just don't. And that's a lot of the problems nowadays. You got people who walk in and the first assumption is they've got all the answers. They can never be wrong. Everything has to be challenged. Everything has to be debated, and that's not a sign of a good leader, to me.
I
Okay,
agree.
now that's my interpretation. And also another aspect of that, which I think Joseph fulfills quite well, to be honest with you, is Joseph is capable of stepping outside of the moment to look at it as a whole for what it is. I think that's something that we miss a lot.
Mm.
Because he is capable of it. Whether he's having the prophetic dreams or not, whether it's issues with his brother, whether it's the issue with the woman, whether it's dealing with the Pharaoh, whether it's being, a slave, whatever, he's able to step out of the moment, which is of the suffering itself, to see the opportunity that could be presented to be fruitful. Did I get that right, Isaac?
Yes, I would have to agree with that.
I agree with that too, yo.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a lot what's missing nowadays, among men, well, among people, period, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to be able to step out of that moment. And it's hard, bro. I mean, let's be real, we're human. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, but
Yeah.
it's got to get done.
Right. I agree.
Hey,
What's good,
Jordan,
MOT?
what's going on, man?
Well,
Oh, I
T.
Yeah,
wasn't I wasn't I wasn't even looking. What's up, MOT? I'm sorry.
what's
How you
going on, man?
doing?
I just popped in, but also the opposite, which is true, which I have to do
Mm.
streams on to let people know that these new people who've come to this space who act like they care about black men, they actually don't give a shit about black men. They give a damn, like the opposite of what you say is true, Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely.
An improper leader requires emotional people around them because they want the art of perpetuation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it goes without saying. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I mean, that's a given.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah.
But
So yeah,
also
yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
the opposite is true. The lack of adequate action leads to the deliberate action that created the action in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because that goes back to something I taught my daughters over the years. There's the right way, the wrong way, and no, there's the right answer, the wrong answer, and no answer. And sometimes, if you're not careful, you can make all three at the same time.
Mm.
Correct. Correct. And you have also have to realize that the requirement of no action by the people that you claim to help is one of the greatest frauds among pro-blacks in
Oh,
America.
absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely, 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 absolutely. No challenge to that at all.
And I didn't find this out by pro-blacks. I found this out by pro-whites. Like
Mm.
after you read Mein Kampf, after you go through the whole ideology, I'm like, hold on a second. There's a pattern here, and the
Mhm.
pattern is the same. Like, look, every person who claims to be pro-black, they're never a productive human being. They don't teach people how to be productive, and how they got to be where they are would not be sustainable if everybody practiced the same level of activity that brought them to speak before the group in the first place.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I get what you're saying about Mein Kampf and all those because I've read them as well. But what fascinated me the most from personal experience when it comes to pro blacks, this is what I've always seen. They all talk a good game, which we know, okay, and they all do the same thing. They talk the game, but they don't put anything into action. The one that does put it into action has always done that and succeeded by stepping on the very pro people he claims he's for. That's all I've ever seen.
Correct.
That's all I've seen. One of the two. Those are the only things I've ever seen. Now,
And this is why.
if there's something else out there that I haven't seen, so be it. But that's all I've seen. Those two choices. They do nothing, or the one who does it by stepping on the very people he claims to be there for. That's all I've ever seen.
Because an empowered people don't need a singular leader. Empowered people become their own leaders.
True.
Yeah.
If it's done properly and with the proper guidance, yeah, absolutely. Because the guidance, see, the thing about the guidance and the leadership, even if you do need it, it should only be a temporary thing. Because after a certain point in time, there should be no need for that leader because everyone should be on the same page, following the same protocols and procedures, and doing what's necessary for the quote unquote society as a whole, as opposed to relying only on individual desires and emotions. That's the way it should work.
Correct. And this is why people require a lack of order and a lack of principle within the environment so they can survive. And this is another thing pro-blacks have actually perpetuated upon the group because pro-blacks never come out to criticize Pookie. They never come out to criticize the worst of women within the environment that has the kid raised in a malformed environment that kid turns into later on the newest customer of the person who's smart enough to know what they're talking about, but deliberately requires the stagnation of people to keep re-perpetuating their power in the first place through the children.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, the worst of them is again the older ones who are so pro black back to Africa.
They're always older. They're always older.
They're the worst of the bunch. And again, going back to what you just said, pushing for the worst of everything. Pookie or Shanae, it doesn't make a difference. A question, or you push for Pookie, well, help that brother train him. You push for Shanae, well, you make her an honest woman and take her under your wing and teach her how to be the proper. No, that's not what this is. At least not to me. As I've told them on many occasions, look, even if I'm willing to give some space, after a certain point in time, once you reach a certain age, the decision and the choices that you make are yours. It's no longer about your environment. It's no longer coming from a broken home or whatever have you may. You have to start personal accountability. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah. And another thing that people don't get nor recognize is if I did everything I'm supposed to, would I need this person speaking for me?
That is absolutely right. That is absolutely correct. that is absolutely. I like that. That is absolutely 100% undeniably correct. Because if you do what you're supposed to and you got yourself straight, you don't need nobody to speak on your behalf. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to speak. Your actions say everything.
Yeah.
And it's so wild. It's so wild that they have immigration attorneys speaking as a pro-black person within their group, and they don't even know he's an immigration attorney.
Well, I recognize it. I recognized it because I have one. I have sheep, but yeah. She's the same way.
Yeah, so it's like at some point this chain has to be broken. At some point, and I just think that educating people about the process, because we're talking about a process here that's supposed to create a result. We know what the process of inaction have created, and people need to stop. Well, what they want to do is they want to take the blame off of the inaction or deliberate actions of the people in a self-interested manner and kind of move the blame from those people who haven't taken any action to something conspicuous like the government. Like a
Right.
government is not going to be able to tell you what woman to be with and what not to. But if you want to listen to huckster, frauds, and cons tell you how they have the same women under control, therefore use my methods, even though I don't have a proven track record or results or something I can demonstrate. The only thing you're going to do is keep reperpetuating the same activities that led to your ass needing their help in the first place.
Well,
They're always going to circle you back to the starting line.
well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, not but in addition to that, though, how would you say, from a scriptural perspective, that comes full circle to the point Eisen was making today in the study about fruitfulness despite of suffering?
Yes, because see, once you have a level of success, despite the upbringing, like me, I'm in my 40s. I had to pick and chop cotton within my time in Mississippi
Yeah, I've
in
done
the
that.
80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that.
so
Yeah.
so I was thinking to myself, how is it that I got here? I'm here in the 80s, even though my grandfather was a sharecropper in the 20s and 30s. It made sense. There was no real progress among the group. Even though people were smart enough to do so, the actions did not match up to what the successful people in the marketplace did. And this is why you had the people who were celebrated among Black History Month. Why? They took the processes that worked.
Mm-hmm.
They performed those processes better than the people that was there, and they became exceptional by doing so. Now, a lot of people who did not take those actions within the group started to hate those people and actually say that those people were quote unquote white because they wanted to compete with white. But
Yeah,
see, they,
Coon, Oreo, all that good stuff. Yeah.
correct, correct. But those people had to perform an action to be better than the dominant society. The more emotional type people and the more easily jealous type people are already superior, even though they have completed no action or activity.
That's great points right there, MOT.
It is. Actually, it is. It is. It actually is.
Great points.
Because like I said, I grew up with all that. I grew up with all that you're a coon, you're an Oreo, you're a nerd, you're a brainiac, all the shaming language to try to label me as other, because I was more interested in merit and results than emotion and um box. I'm sorry.
Public opinion.
Yeah,
Their opinion.
and public opinion, because public opinion is about running the streets and getting laid. So when you don't fit that, you get all the shaming language, and I know everybody in here recognizes it. I'm pretty sure everybody's had it once or twice. But yeah. You're absolutely right. MOT. I can't argue that at all. But like I said, in specific reference to the Bible study, I guess each of us here would, in our own way, be Joseph. While the brothers would represent, quote unquote, the community, per se, always out to remove us from the scenario because they think it's just going to make life better, only to find out in the end that they needed us more than we ever needed them.
Yeah, and you would have some. My bad. Go ahead, Aegon. Go ahead.
That's a good analysis. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, and also they would also represent the general, his wife's position as well. Wanted to destroy it because of the simple greed of wanting the success that he's had.
Yeah. No, you know what? Thank you for that. Because actually, you're right. I should have broke it down that way. Because at the end of the day, the women would represent her. The men would represent the brothers.
I don't know. Some of these dudes would represent her too.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Actually, you're right. You're right. You got me on that. You got me on that one. That's true. That is true. That is true. You got me on that one.
Look how easy that I got access to her. Listen to me, so that way
I can help you get in contact with your inner bitch, so that way you could be with her too. Like this is where we at.
You know what I just thought about? We didn't we don't know that have this information, but we didn't cross-examine the general.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We sure didn't.
He knows his woman. This is his wife, and basically, he never like. Okay, you're a general. You're basically a warlord under a king. So, why would a slave who rose up to the rank to get into the palace put his life in jeopardy trying to fuck your wife?
Well, he didn't get there. He didn't get to the palace yet. But that other point you made was true. But the other thing is too, it all goes back to what Zero said. Pussy's undefeated.
Agreed. And that makes me think maybe the general was jealous of Joseph.
Oh, you think he might have recognized his wife's desire for Joseph?
No, not
and he got jealous of it.
That, and also his position. This is basically Joseph's position to he saw his trajectory, but he looked at it in the negative connotation, like this guy could take my spot, or I'm going to be under him in a couple of years because he saved the kingdom.
Yeah. Okay, so he's looking at two problems. The first one is that this guy could take my spot, my power, my position. The second one is that my wife is recognizing it too, and she's trying to offer herself to him, and that's pissing me off as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good examination of the general. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Those are great points as well. There,
the smart thing for the general to do was to get rid of that bitch, and then embrace Joseph because he's a godsend. You know, he can help you be a better general.
And not only that, the other thing is too that even if he gets elevated, I mean, if you treat him as such as you have been, you gonna get elevated too.
Yeah, and that's something I used to talk about in the corporate world all the time because people would ask that. I said, look, my elevation is not necessarily the end of yours. If my goal is to take your position as manager, that means in my process of doing it, you should be bumped up to director. You feel me? And as once you get there and I start heading towards director, if we do this right together, you should be bumped up to vice president when I become director, and so on and so forth. But nobody thinks like that. They automatically think it's an absolute threat right out the gate because emotional aspects and ego always kick into play instead of focusing on the task and job at hand. Always.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not just black men either. I've seen it in Asians, white, Spanish, you name it.
Especially in whites in corporate America. Oof.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're right.
And that's what I'm talking about because that's who I was predominantly around. Let's call it for what it is. And I mean, and it's a variety of things. It's a threat to them in their position. It's a threat to their ego. It's a threat to their quote unquote whiteness. that is a brother that looks like us. It's a variety of things and everything above and below that line. It's but yet at the same time, when you challenge them and ask them, well, if that's the case, why did you hire me when you knew I was going to be this type of person? My job is to push past the limits. My job is to do the best I can and above that. My job is to take the corporation in a direction for more profits and et cetera and so on. And now you're upset that I'm doing that, not because I'm good at it, but because you are emotional about the fact that I'm better at it than you. It's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. And I've seen it in the military as well. It's not just corporate.
Oh my God. Woo.
It's in the military, man.
Most of the good people get out and go move on. Most of the people who they shit stay in for 20-something years. It happens all the time.
You know how many white dudes who grew up from as soon as they can stand going out hunting with their father every single season, and then get in the military, and we all go to the range, and I qualify as both a sharpshooter and an expert, and they're mad at it because I'm from New York. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Dude, the only thing that matters is that when it hits the fan, I can take the shot. That's all that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? But you want to worry about ego because you've been doing it. This is stupid. It's stupid, man.
And the funny thing about it is that I'm sorry, Isaac. Can I go? Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The funny thing about it is that it's all they're probably even a better shot than you. It's just that you have a natural technique that they don't know yet. So basically, they have all the the natural mechanics, right? Like all the stuff that you're going to get in in a long time. But it's something that you naturally do that makes you a better shot. Where they could learn that from you and become even way better. But they're like, man, fuck this nigga. Man. So sorry for cursing. They're like, man, F this dude. Like I trained my whole life doing this. Like I don't want to learn nothing from him because he's better than me, and it makes me feel little.
Yeah, and like I said, at the end of the day, that's why it's a foolish thing. Because at the end of the day, when it comes time to it, our backs are against the wall, and we're in the depths of it. Nobody cares who's done it longer. We just care who can get it done. That's all that should matter.
Yeah.
And as far as it goes for different techniques, even the technique aspect doesn't matter. The technique doesn't matter at all. At the end, because like we talked about earlier on your stream, methodologies come from different aspects, different perspectives, different observations. All that matters is the end result. I don't care what methodology you use. My question is can you hit that target moving at 50 paces? That's all I care about. Because if you don't, we're all gone. And the same thing applies in the corporate world. I don't care what methodologies or tactics you use. The question is does it work? Can we make a profit? Because if not, we're all going to the unemployment line.
And
yeah, I mean, like you're right, because I have the same problem when I'm trying to train people when it comes to backing an actual truck. These people think, well, I had a boat on the back of an RV or an actual SUV, and I know how to back just fine. I'm like, the mechanics are far different, and it's easier to teach people who only drive automatics to learn how to drive stick in a truck, and it's easier to teach people who know how to back who've never attached themselves to a travel trailer before, because it's technique. and they think that, oh, I've done this for a while, but can you explain what you were doing? Because if you cannot explain what you're doing, and if you cannot impart the same information over in 100% of the cases, then it's not a technique that can be taught. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I think also too to kind of go back off what you were saying, Lawrence, about how they do this and it makes no sense. To be honest, it does make sense. I mean, it's like in this sense, I'm not saying it's right, but it does make sense. Whenever they bring somebody in who does exceedingly well, the problem is that they see their own mortality. It goes to speak of, the point of what I brought up, from the beginning, the simple fact that now, because they're focused on that, they're focused more on what they can't do instead of focusing on what they could do.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Look, I've never been in a situation where I've run into someone who knew more than me and wanted to play the part of a fool and get upset. I'd rather take this brother out for coffee and have him break it down how he did it. That's all that matters to me. I mean, seriously, that's all. And I've always done that. I'll even pay for the meal. I got no problem with it because I'm getting something that more knowledge, expanding my horizons to look at things from a different angle, and with any luck, not only learn it, not only do it, but build upon it and make it even better. That's the goal of life as a whole. Whether it's personal relationships, whether it's you individually being introspective, whether it's business, military, this is the goal of life. You always have to constantly exceed to do better, and you always have to be prepared that there will be suffering. That is the name of the game here. But nobody wants to truly acknowledge the truth of it because they want to be emotional, they want to whine, they want to play victim, and they want to do the gimme card, give it to me for free, 5-finger discounts, all that good stuff. Which is why I have a tendency to get, maybe more than I should, so passionate with the spaces I'm in and with who I'm engaging with and who I interact with, because I know it might sound corny, but I truly believe every single one of us have that ability. Every single one of us can do it. Just because I am where I'm at does not mean it's too late for someone else to get there. It doesn't mean that it's too late for them to even exceed me. And I kind of hope they do, because I'd like to sit down over dinner and ask them how they did that. You know what I mean? I mean that's the game, especially for men. That's That's what makes us what we are. It's how we build our true self-worth. Not chasing after box, not listening to old dudes trying to play hustle and game. That is the true aspect. And it doesn't make a difference if you're a spiritual man or a secular man. It doesn't make a difference. It applies to both. This is the nature of what makes us who we are. It's what makes us great. It's what allows us to create legacies, whether it be with our children or just from people we mentor. I mean, this is truly the name of the game, the true game. You know what I'm saying? Not the game not the game they talk about over there on that other crap, but that's the true game of life.
Mm.
Yeah. So they don't understand that cooperation is the greatest force multiplier. But among people who are stagnant, chaos is the greatest force of the status multiplier for them. Because they need to keep re-perpetuating the same situation so nobody goes anywhere. That's how they got their position, everybody being lost. So if everybody got found, then there's no need for that person to speak. And that person is trying to find ways to stay on top by re-perpetuating chaos within the group. Because at a certain period of time, having information about the past without acting on it in the future makes no logical sense.
Nope, it does not. It does not. And I've seen that a lot too. People want to get in real estate. They pay $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for all these, teach me at home things in the whole 9 yards, and they get it and sit on it and don't do nothing with it.
Oh my God.
Literally just sit there, do nothing with it.
That happened to mom, yo. Damn.
I've seen that.
I bought one of the programs way back in the day, and man, it was the biggest waste of money ever. I got to the field for a couple of years, closed a couple of deals, and I'm like, why did I just pay $3,000 for something that somebody just showed me within probably 15 days of just working under them for free?
Exactly. And it's funny you say that, because I've told brothers that. Don't waste $5,000. If that's the case, you want to waste money, then go in, get with a realtor, get with a bird dog, get with a wholesaler, and like, look, man, I'd like to follow you. I'd like to be your shadow for like 30 days. Well, why would you want to do that? Because I'm thinking about getting into it, and I don't know where to start, and I don't want to get it taken advantage of with all these so-called gurus out here. So I figured I'd come to a local player, and and some of them say no, but I promise you, you're gonna find somebody that says yes, guaranteed. I promise you that.
Yeah, and Lawrence, and here's what they don't understand. Anybody who doesn't know what they're talking about can put together videos and graphics as if they do know what they're talking about to somebody who has no idea.
This is true.
Anybody can do that.
This is true.
But once you start getting hands-on information about the actual topic and subject, which is the actual act of doing it, not dreaming about the actual outcomes of actually doing it, you get a better result. And this is what happens when you have people who think in emotional-based framework all the time. They want to hear the same conversations from a different perspective. But the different perspective you're supposed to gain is from your actions with the information, not the opinions of other people representing the same information.
That is correct. That is correct. Which is why after a certain point in time, I stopped taking people on in I guess in a mentorship capacity. I don't think it's that, but that's the best word I could find right now, in helping them get into real estate, because I started to notice that I show you what needs to be done. I explain it to you. I break it down for you, over weeks and months. And then when it's time to put up a shut up, you want to call me and ask me to hold your hand while you go through the process. Okay, now you're just asking me to do the job for you. That's retarded.
Correct.
I gave you everything you needed. Just go do it. Yeah, but I wish, I'd like you to be here with me so, I can make sure I do this right and I do that right. So then you're challenging my ability to teach. Is that what you're saying? Well, no, that's not what I meant. I just want somebody, to be there with me to make sure it's right. But that's the only thing you could possibly be saying, because I've already taught you everything you need to know. So it's either
they want to benefit without solo action.
Exactly. So
as a passenger rather than driving the car themselves.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, you're challenging my ability to teach you, or you want me to do it for you. Those are the only two options. There's nothing else in between. And no matter which one you pick, it's a bad answer, at least for me. you know, and that's why I had to pull out of doing that for that very same reason. It's no different than when I'm ready to finish getting everything together and do the channel thing. I'm gonna come up there. I'm gonna show how to do stuff, and I'm gonna show what needs to be done. But the first that look, man, you email me talking about, yo, man, can you walk me? No, sir. Nope, you gotta go. I can't help you because it's everybody's so busy being emotional and being afraid of failure, but they fail to understand that failure is key to success. You cannot have one without the other. You just can't. You know what I mean? And they just I don't know. They just don't want to accept it. I can't, and I can't explain it to them any more than what is. I mean, look, it comes down to this: amat victoria curum. Okay, it's just that simple. Amat victoria curum. That's Latin for victory loves preparation. End the story.
Mm. Yeah. I think it's very, oh man, it's great stuff you pointed out there, Lawrence. The thing is, I think you can't eliminate failure. You only thing you can do is minimize how much you lose.
Exactly.
And that's the best preparation you can do.
Exactly. And again, that's how it's supposed to be.
It is.
Man, look, man, this, wait, let me, what, 1, 2, 3, I failed at 5 companies in my lifetime that I created, literally. Going all the way back to my days in California in the 80s.
Wow.
Me, about 3 times as much.
Yep. Failure has to be part of it, man. It has to. And if you think you're just going to go in there and be able to do it right out the gate and there's not going to be failure, then you're in the wrong game. And that's what I tried to explain to my cousin William one time, because he used to get upset because my mother and the rest of my family would always try to talk me out of being an entrepreneur, this, that, and et cetera, and so on. And I had to break it down for him. It's like, dude, why are you getting upset? You can't expect people whose entire goal is to work 9 to 5 under somebody else's thumb to understand what it is to put in the effort to be free of that. I mean, it's, you know, you're wasting your time trying to explain that, and you're definitely wasting your time getting upset about it. It just can't be done. And even with him, it took decades before he started to see what I was talking about, and he started getting into the swing of it about 7 years ago, and he's been doing landscaping since then. He called me in about 2 years ago, and I helped him set up his corporation in the whole 9 yards, and he's flying down in North Carolina. He's flying, man. I mean, he's got residential and commercial clients, because he was trying to stick with residential. I said, dude, go with the commercial. Trust me, you don't have to work as hard, you don't have to work as much, and you definitely get more pay. Trust me. Dude,
Wow.
trust me. And he did it. And now he's slowly moving in more commercial clientele and leaving out the residents, except for a small group, because he's kind of touchy, because they the ones who helped him get started. So they always hold a special place for him. So when they call, he'll go. But outside of that, man, he's doing what he's supposed to. You know. But you got it. You got it. Like Aegon likes to say, you got to take that L. you got to take that L, man. There's no other way. Nobody gets it right the first time out the gate. I don't care who you call, whose name you call out. And I think MOT would agree with that.
Yeah, and every time you take the proverbial L, you're not supposed to go try to redo the mistakes better. You're supposed to just learn from the experience all the way and move on. And that's kind of the other thing that emotional people want to do. They want to reload the same game save, man. They're trying to stage all over again. It's like, nah, man, you really don't need to be doing that.
Oh no, man! Look, man. When you take that L and that failure comes, the only thing you're supposed to do is lock yourself away and you strip apart every piece of that thing to find out what happened, what went wrong, how it went wrong, why it went wrong, and what to avoid the next time. That's your job. That's not even a need. That's your job. You have to do that. You have to. Like I said, if not, you're wasting your time, your investors' time, your partner's time, your employees' time. There's no point. You got to do it, man. You got to. And that failure and that L or that loss is part of the thing we're talking about with fruitfulness despite of suffering. That's the whole point. You take that suffering, you take that loss, you break it apart, and you figure out where it went wrong, and then you come back stronger. It doesn't matter how many times. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you get back up.
Yeah, but what most people have mastered the art of, Lawrence, was trying to find a way to carry the loss with them, like the full loss rather than the lesson, right? They want the
Yeah,
10,000 pounds to be carried on their back as they try to run up this hill, rather than the piece that fits in the pocket and run up the hill with the easier lesson to
yeah,
be learned, which
yeah.
is a changed action and a changed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're insane. Like the saying goes, trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is insanity. So
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I know everybody. I know everybody here understands everything I've been saying. It's just that it's trying to reach those out, at least the ones that we can, who's willing to be open to understanding that they've got it wrong. What they're doing now, from the emotional aspect, wearing it like it's a badge of honor, playing victim, you know,
Yes.
understanding that it's wrong. That's why when Mike V shows up, Nagone shows up, you know what I'm saying, and they're saying that, I mean, in their own way, in their own words, but they're saying it just like all of us are here saying it. And you just got to. It's a sad thing. You got to keep repeating it until it drills in somebody's head till one morning they wake up and go, "Oh, damn, they're right." And hopefully they'll get out of that space and start doing what they need to. But that's few and far between, in all honesty.
true, it is. It
You know
is.
what people don't understand, that an embarrassment is supposed to be a one-time thing that you'll remember. An
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment is not supposed to be a living experience that you have to wake up to every single day of your life.
Yo, man, I to this day, like, okay, my first company I did was 1988 in California. It was called Checkmate Incorporated. I still have the paperwork when I had to disband that corporation because it failed.
Yeah.
I still
Wow.
have it. Most people, those stories about how you make your first dollar and you hold on to it and frame it. I hold on to my first loss. Just straight up, I still have that paperwork. It's a reminder, man. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
1988, Checkmate Incorporated, California. Um, I operated out of Fort Irwin, next door to Barstow, but I did my incorporation in San Bernardino. Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember it well. I remember it very well. So, I'm never gonna forget that one.
You
But
said
yeah, say again.
yeah, Checkmate Incorporated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a record label.
No. It was an investigation company.
I'm messing with you, Lawrence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now y'all know I'm bad at that,
I know, I
especially
know.
with you. Especially with you, ain't God. I think that's why you do it.
Of course, of course.
But I'm not bad at it. But yeah, I still keep the paperwork from when I had to disband that, man. It's worn, it's faded, but it's still here.
Wow. Well,
Hmm.
it's I guess a memory for a lesson learned.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, I had four others that I failed at, but for each one, I learned something from.
Got you.
But
Oh yeah.
but that first one, like first loves, is always the most painful. So I keep that one.
Ah,
So you know what I mean?
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to learn about partnerships and why it's not a good idea. And that's why I came out with the podcast called "Making Money With" versus "Making Money Off of," because a lot of people don't understand that everybody's supposed to bring something to the table other than money.
Yep,
And
that's
and,
correct.
and
Hmm.
and if you are going to be an investor, then you have to be an investor. If you're going to be a partner, you're going to have to be a partner. But a lot of people want to do both because they want to kind of hedge their bets, and that is just not an overall good idea for anybody.
That's correct.
especially
That's
when the
crazy.
person don't know what he's doing but want to manage and run things and want to tell actual professionals what to do. You cannot have those type of people as investors within your company. It's not worth the money or the
Nope,
headache.
never is. And like I said, anybody can offer you money, but the money doesn't last. You need more than that. You need experience. You need guidance. You need people who can shore up what you lack in. I mean, I can plan and I can calculate all day I want to, but it doesn't mean I understand marketing. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
doesn't mean I understand how to run employees. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta assemble the right people when you build that team, and each person has their part. And if they don't have a part that's conducive to it, then they don't need to be there, regardless of what money they got.
True.
Because generally what happens is somebody who comes in and all they offer is money, they'll be the biggest problems you have.
Yes, they will.
Because they'll bitch every single day about when am I going to get my profit, when am I going to see my returns, when am I going to do
And
this. Well, I lent you all this, so you should do this for me. It's not good. It's not good. Even venture capitalists do it, for crying out loud. They would, yeah. As a matter of fact, the contracts you sign with them, they put it in there how quick they expect that money to come back. Who wants to live under that kind of pressure when you're trying to build something? That's retarded.
and those people know the process of creation themselves and still
Yep,
for
and
some
still
reason
do it.
act like they don't understand what the process is. Unbelievable. But that's where we are, man. It's just that it's kind of impossible for people to kind of hear this talk without a product being associated with it.
Hmm.
Like because a lot of people go through this a lot where they're expecting the shoe to drop. Okay, this all sounds good. How much is this going to cost? It's going to cost your actual action after you listen to what I just said. That's it. It's nothing else that's involved here.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. But like I said, people got to, well, they're not going to do it, but they got to get past this fear of failure and suffering, man. And it's insane because and I'll throw this out there for each one of you to respond. But it's fascinating to me that they're what we're talking about. They're afraid to fail in that, but they're perfectly okay getting up every morning using the same tactics they do with failing and not having a problem with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Failure
well,
of the known versus failure of the unknown. When they don't understand, you can get past both.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good phrase. That's a very good phrase. Yeah, absolutely.
well, I mean, like I said earlier, it just goes to show that what um, Zero states is true. Pussy's undefeated. They'll gladly, willingly fail at trying to get access to that, which the value of it isn't really much at all. But doing something that's actually worthwhile and fulfilling, that putting yourself out there for that, nah.
But a
Well,
lot of people have really consigned themselves that that's all that they're actually good for.
Yes, yes, that's
yeah,
the only thing they can
yeah,
do or care about.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's a psychological and emotional um, acceptance of failure of uh, uh, so many words I can't even think of them right now. But yeah, that's an internal thing where they just accept their lot in life, so to speak. Not realizing that it doesn't have to be that way if they simply made the choice.
Mm.
And and they want other people to make the choice for them so that way they don't have to be responsible for the outcome. But want to
Exactly.
take credit for the outcome when it does happen.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
They don't want to be invested, but they do want to cash in big after the
Mhm.
so-called investment of somebody else. So,
Well, a prime example of that is family. When you make it, all of a sudden they coming out of nowhere. Say, yeah, man, remember when you was young, man? I always knew you was gonna be successful. I always said that to everybody. Yo, man, can you lend me some money? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They don't want to put in the work, but they want all the benefits. That's all it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And yo, the older I get, I already knew this. Like we all have our fight our battles inside, but I ultimately know not to do this. And this speaking to all the younger guys, the worst mistake of your life you could ever do is to become relatively successful and do the things that you want to, and then try to show it off amongst people that don't care about that you want to make feel bad, because it's not going to turn out the way you think it is.
Nope.
Yeah, that's foolish. And you're right. You're right. And it's not even necessary because it'll happen even without your assistance anyway. So
Yeah.
Like dating women. If you want to get if you want to date a new chick and then bring her around and show her that you moved on, you already betting with losing money, because it's not going to turn out the way you think it is. If you try to become successful, then bring that around people that used to shit on you. That's not going to, because like it's people that aren't on your level can destroy you. they'll find a way to get at you. And
it's not that they can, they will. They'll live their entire life just to do it. They will. You know, it's like my first wife. I never had to say anything. Whatever she found out second or third hand from other people. And to this day, it's one of the reasons why she refuses to even acknowledge my existence, because she knows that at the end of the day, whatever she wants to complain about, whatever she wants to lay claim to for us going our separate ways, the proof is in the pudding. I've become successful, and the only difference between me becoming successful and not was her. You know what I'm saying? And now that she's gone, she has to live in the quiet moments of her mind, acknowledging, okay, the problem wasn't him, the problem was me. And then you look at where she is now. Here she is, like, what, 52? And the only thing she's been able to do after serving in the military, going to school, is be a waitress. Think about that. I mean, think about that. Military benefits, going to school, and I know about the school because I'm the one who paid for it. Computer tech and the whole 9 yards. And yet the only thing she can be is a waitress at 52 years old. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go out of your way to floss for other people. You don't. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. They'll see it. The only difference the distinction you have to make is that you have two types. You have the ones who will sit there and stew and be pissed, you know what I'm saying, that you succeeded and they didn't. Or you got the other ones who will be pissed that you succeeded and looking to do everything they can to take it from you.
Right. Like I just like try to add the human aspect to it, because that's like a problem that I have. Like I'm not gonna do it, but I'll be like, yo, it would feel good to make to show up and like make this person feel like, make this person feel stupid. But then I don't, because I know, because like, you know, we all like energy doesn't go away. You know what I'm saying? Somebody made you feel like you ain't shit. You going it takes wisdom to be okay with yourself, to be like, fuck it, I'm not going to go do that. But you can also suffer from being successful too fast and then running up to that and then doing that dumb stuff. So what I'm saying is that to all the younger guys, keep it in your head. That's the best place that you're going to floss at and make them feel bad is in your head. Because if you try to do it in real life, it's not going to turn out the way you think it is.
Yeah, because then you become just as bad as they are at the end of the day.
Right, because they win. You sought them out, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, some of the greatest things you are going to accomplish in life, you're going to have to keep a secret anyway.
That's right.
For the sake of keeping it.
Yep.
For the sake of keeping it. Because I'm telling you, after I didn't come home for like the first couple of class reunions, and then I all of a sudden went to the 20-year, the amount of people who wanted to come and try to destroy everything that I had dwarfs in comparison what it was if I would have went before.
Yep. I did the same thing. I went back to the 25th. Everybody in there is trying to sit down with me. Hey man, what you doing? Yo, can you hook me up with this? It's the same thing. And I never went back. To this day, my emails still get blown up every June because they're trying to get me to come back, and I never respond. I mean, they literally, from what my mom is telling me, because like I said, she was one of our high school English teachers and our guidance counselors. She still goes because she likes to see the kids, or as she likes to call them, kids. And it's the same thing. She comes back every year, tells me the same thing. They're all asking about you. They're wondering what you're doing, yada, yada. Mom, yes. Have you told them anything I'm doing? No. Okay, then I'm all right. I don't care.
Keep it that way.
Yeah, keep it that way. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But like I said, that's what it. You don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't have to show anybody. Like I said, actions and results are only thing you need. The only thing you need. And like I said, they'll come back as they always do. Try to be friendly. Try to hey, I always had a crush on you, or hey, man, I always thought you was cool. Man, I got all that crap. I got all that crap, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
you know,
saying,
you were supposed to know. You were supposed to know.
oh, my
Okay.
dude,
All right. All right. Okay.
those are the exact words they used.
Yeah, of course.
They were the exact words they used. Like I always had a crush
Everything
on
that
you.
put all the actions on you and now actions on their part, but they want to
Yep,
benefit on the actions of your part
yep,
later
exactly,
on in life. And
exactly.
it's so rehearsed that it means the same thing all the time. It means the same thing.
Yep, and like
And all you gotta do is just say no. All you gotta
yeah,
do is just say no and politely refuse, and you're gonna know exactly what you're dealing with.
yep. Yep. And they'll show themselves when you politely say no too. They get they
Oh, of
they
course
get
it will.
they get a little belligerent. Oh, you think you're too good for us? And my response is yeah. So that's the reason why I don't show up.
Mm.
I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, I do, you know. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, it got to be all like that. It's not a question of being all like that. Just look at the results. I mean,
Well,
half of you are still hanging out on the corner. My dude, what? Tell me, what do you want from me?
Same
Uh,
store, not even a different store, not even a different part
Yeah,
of town.
yes, yeah,
Same
same,
store.
yeah, same corner bodega, the whole 9 yards. They still there, same thing. And it was like that when I came back from the military too. So you've shown me on two different instances in 50 plus years of life that, yeah, I am better than you. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just, it's the same thing when they talk that nonsense about high school was the best years of my life. Well, then you lived a pretty freaking messed up life.
Yo, that's depressing, yo.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I've been in the military. I've traveled the world. I've had kids. I've been married. I've created businesses. I've employed people. No, high school is not going to be my end all be all. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No.
I mean, but it is for them, so therefore it should be for you. That's kind of what the actual issue is, and what they don't get is that the greatest things in their life that they accomplish, maybe they should keep to themselves because other people have done a lot more, and they don't want to hear that.
No, they don't.
They don't want to hear that you've done a lot more than that. And this is why I just learned: listen, never criticize, move on. Because
Yep.
as soon as you start rolling up with the car and all this kind of stuff, all the people are just going to want to figure it out a way to take it away from you.
Oh no, I never do that. I never.
And you will get criticism for not allowing them close enough to take it away
Yes. Yep. Yep. But I learned that a lot. I learned that when I was a kid, man. Whatever you get, you do. Look, just because you got a million, don't mean you drive around a Mercedes, man. It
from you. I
doesn't.
know.
It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, I look, I dress bummy at any given time. You never know, and that's how it's supposed to be.
The car, one car I drive is 17 years old.
Hmm.
Never know.
Shoot, man,
Never know.
I got a 2004, man.
Yep.
I just and the past year I just got I think it's a 2016. Yeah, it's a 2016. I just got it like February. So you know what I'm saying? Because the 2004 is, she's getting to her space where I got to retire her. But outside of that, man, I ain't trying to drive stuff off a brand new lot. For what? I mean, for what? I mean, the only thing I'm going to use it for is to go get groceries. And, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no point to
I
it.
mean, think about what I do and the practicality of buying some expensive ass car.
mm.
Hmm.
Why I thought to sit in the parking lot or a garage. Come on, man.
Hmm.
You
And,
gotta
and,
be
and,
smarter than that, bro.
and think about this. Think about anybody who, let's say, for the sake of argument, we'll pick the month of May. Think about anybody who was doing business or had money who went and bought a brand new off the showroom floor Mercedes or Lexus or whatever have you may in the month of May. They just spent 6, 7 months not being able to drive it because of lockdown. So
Yeah.
you're paying for a
Yeah.
car to floss that you're not even using. I mean, that's just stupid. You know what I mean? It's just stupid.
Straight dry rot.
There needs to be a whole live stream by itself called self
Call what?
actual value as a person.
Yeah, you cut out there, MOT, for a
You
minute.
cut out there.
I think you cut out again.
Say it again, MOT. You cut out.
Yeah, I think he cut out again.
Yeah. He's still on though, right? It's just we don't have any sound. He's still there. We just don't have any sound.
Right now, he's still there anyway.
Yeah. He might have hit a dead zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, you're right, Ice. In addition to getting that kind of stuff, you also have to take into consideration that it's a lot of maintenance on top of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's got a phone call.
Okay.
I want to take the time here to say that Soul Provider Speaks is having an anime stream today around 7 p.m. Central Time, and I'll put it in the chat. And we got somebody new to this panel here for seriousness anyways, and they come to ask some Aegon questions.
Oh my goodness.
He's silly. What's going on, Marco?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Doing pretty good, sir.
Shalom.
Shalom alaikum for all you brothers out there. And I still love the Lakers. I have a question for Aegon. He's going to be the Aegon questions to Aegon. I guess Marco questions.
Let's go.
Well, I was listening to you, and I know we've spoken quite a bit on different panels, and then sometimes off panels. But you said something that kind of like I wanted to just get some clarification. Mm-hmm. I asked it in the chat, but I was hoping that you would answer. But what do you feel is the need for you to, as you say, show off? Not necessarily, go back and share with the group that you grew up with, or your kin, or your childhood friends. But you said the word "show off." What's that all about?
My ego. I got like I have like ego issues at times, but it's all in my head. Like I'll think about doing something that's really egotistical and then not do it. But then the thought will be in my head and I'm like, thank God I didn't do that, but it's still there. And that's how I keep myself from doing shit. Like, cause I could see the future of that, of me doing it, and like that's fucked up. And then it's like the negative. It's like it'd be a cool feeling like on some movie type shit. Like I can imagine myself doing it, and then reality sets in. It's like they'll try to destroy this shit, or they're gonna find a way to hit me on the back end, or basically if I do this, it shows that they control me, but then it's still there though. It's like kind of like I want to say the evil in me, or like it's like just my I think so. Is it the id with the Sigmund Freud shit? You guys know what I'm talking about? Like the
I know what you're talking about.
I get what you're saying. Kind of the Jekyll Hyde deal.
Yeah.
Because like remember I always said like we were talking up here about like how we were talking up here about how basically like you got to let other people shine. Like I was never the top dude in sports or the best looking guy. I always fell back, and I was cool with that. At the same time, I kind of wanted to. But then I always looked in the future and I saw how the lives of the guys that got the most girls were. Like I seen what dudes are like when they arrogant when they have girls, or dudes when they just get girls and it ain't nothing to them. And it was never something that really like it was like, yo, like it was like it wasn't like that. Like I really need that, or like it's nothing amazing. At the same time, it's like that my day in the sun shit is like. It does play on my ego a little bit, but I stop myself,
Got you.
Do you know what I'm saying, Marco?
Yeah, but how do you picture it going, and how do you see it in your head? Like you were going to. I'm sorry. Let me just ask.
Sorry,
and I know you can answer, but I just make it a little bit wider the question. Do you picture as if you were going to show up with, with that fat hoe in the video, for example, that you find beautiful, you find with that fat hoe, and all of a sudden they're gonna go, "Oh my God, Egon, damn, homie, you got this fat hoe, man. We were wrong all this time about you because at that time you were this person, but now because you're this person, we're gonna go ahead and forget about that person and now look at you as this person."
Well, not that. It's like it's kind of like the nigga. It's like okay, the nigga shit. Just like make them feel bad because I've basically surpassed them. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like basically like this. Let's make it personal. Like this. I show up with. I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna show up with my fat hoe in a drop top Porsche, showing up to like my daughter's cheerleading events, right?
You're gonna need an El Camino. She doesn't fit in a Porsche. Go ahead.
So I show up with my badass, thick ass, sexy fat chick, and I show up nonchalantly and just make her feel bad. And it's like that'd be some cool shit in a movie, but in real life, it shows that she controls me if I do that shit. And I wouldn't be doing it because I wanted to do it. I'd be doing it to basically show her that she still has control over me.
That she's been, as they say, she's been on your mind.
Yeah, look at the picture you taking, like the picture in your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're being yourself, but somebody would take that as like, yo, you being arrogant. Like look like people just don't stand. People don't stand like that. Like, look at this dude, Marco. But you really being yourself. Like a lot of people pose like that to make others feel a certain way. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Basically, he cares too much. In a way, I mean, because if you care so much about stunting on someone, it means you care about what they think.
Yeah, they're living in your head rent free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, has it happened where just by accident or by default, you've made the people feel or say what you would want them to say instead of going and doing the whole elaborate stunt?
I don't get it.
Meaning that without you doing anything specific like a stunt or showing up or just doing any action on your part other than being yourself, that's caused the people to have the reaction which you would want to have while you doing the whole elaborate stunt. Do you think that's happened before? Like, for example, somebody saying, "Hey man, you hear about Egon, man? Damn man, he went to college, or he got a house, or he's got some good kids, or he's doing well, he's got a nice job." Is that going on?
I would say I wouldn't know. The only time I've ever it's kind of weird. It's like the only time I ever like got like that type of reaction was when I wasn't trying to stun on people. It just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like I just lived, and then I hear about it like years later, like, yo, man, you really like when I first went
that's what I'm saying. That was my thing. That was my question. That's what I'm saying. If you've gotten that if you've gotten the reaction that you're looking for without doing the stunt.
Right. Yes, that has happened. But I wasn't looking for the reaction though. So it was just like it just happened.
Wow.
Okay.
Like I said, it goes back to the fact that you care too much, and people see it. So whenever you don't care,
well, and then not to the topic of to the title of the stream, which is jealousy,
right?
Are you basically try to invoke or provoke jealousy? I mean, is that what you're trying to do? Even though we know it's a deadly sin and we know it's a bad thing and we don't want to suffer from it, so you're just hoping to create it?
Yeah, in my head, yes. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, these some good Aegon questions.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm not agreeing with it. It's something that feeds my ego. It feeds my ego, and I like to like address it in my head, so I don't do it. But it's there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So all right. So you never done it then? Like you haven't put it into practice at all?
Well, I don't. Okay, I think I probably had when I was younger. I think I probably had when I was younger. I really have. I think I really have. I really can't recall a situation when I can. I will tell you. I will tell you when I did it, and then we could talk about it. But as I was just talking about it, like from a perspective of me being 33, and it's like that's like it's there, but it's like why I see other people do it. I see it in my head, and then I'm like, I like that's stupid. Why would I do that shit? But then it's like the ego is there. It's like the ego is there also of me wanting to do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I hear you. Yeah, it's.
Well, let's go like this. Has anybody ever felt like that here?
I never had a need. I never. But what I'm trying to like really find out is if you're looking for pleasure on your part or pain on theirs, like what is more, like what is the actual goal?
Both.
So the more pain they feel, the more pleasure you'll get. And
no, I don't know. I don't think it's like that, but it's like just both feelings. Shitting on niggas, man. Shit on people that fucking that played you. Like okay, I got a perfect. I think I got one, but it's like this. When I first started playing football out of college, right? I mean, out of high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that good. It took me like 3 years to learn a position of fullback because it was fucking tough as fuck. I basically was like a fucking battering ram. So I finally got used to the pain. But my first year, it was a dude that was starting fullback, and he treated me like shit. Like I tried to learn from, and we were the same year, same grade, or the same year, and he like treated me like shit. So I would ask him questions. He wouldn't answer them and be on some straight weird shit. You know when you said that one kid, like you asked him a question and he looked the other direction and shit like that, acting like a straight bitch, shit like that. So when I finally I got better at the position. Like a lot of coaches was like, yo, man, finally, are you on your shit? When I made a really good block one time. I blew up our weak side linebacker, put him on his ass, came back to the sideline and got on one knee. And he was like, the dude was like, yo, good shit. I ain't say shit to him. And I just got on one knee. And he tried to talk to me and I ain't say nothing to him. And that made me feel good. I don't even think he even noticed that I was doing that shit. But I was shitting on him at that time.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
And he did have space in my head because I always kept it in the back of my mind.
Wow. Now let me ask another crazy question. Do you think that a lot of your successes that you're trying to achieve, are you getting them for you, or are you getting them to spite other people or to shit on other people?
That's a good question. That's a real good question.
It is. Golly.
Dang, Marco. That's a hella question.
Hey man. Nobody ever listens to me, Lawrence. I do. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I'm waiting for the answer, man.
Me
You
too.
can think about it. You can think about it. It's not an easy question, and I know you have to really think about it. You have to just give me a quick, answer. Just you don't have to answer it either. You can just think about it, and we'll talk about it some other time. But that's something that the reason I'm asking you this is because I was asked that same question at a young age.
Yeah, I know I've done it.
Yeah, so I was asked very young age. I was like 12. And it was that I was trying to, like, anything that I did, it wasn't really because it wasn't really bringing me any joy or happiness. I was just doing it for other reasons, for other people, either to shit on them or to please them, but it was nothing for me.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I've done it myself. Yeah. Hell, that's how I got caught in my first marriage, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And the coach asked me, Coach Pugh asked me one time. He's like, "Hey man, let me ask you something, Marco." And he kind of like did the same thing I just asked you, and it was like, wow. It just threw, I fell back, and I've never been the same since. But anyway, I didn't want to bring it down or anything. But just think about that. It's cool. We can talk about it. We can make a whole stream on that. Like,
right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
it'd be a good topic, and then everybody can chime in on it.
I think all of us have done it at some point, and sometimes I think we've probably even done it without realizing that we're doing it.
Right, and that's it, and that's why. I mean, we just do things. Just like I mean, I started marketing, so I know that a lot of the things that the media does, of products that we do as manufacturers, as marketers, is that we want the end user just to do things without knowing. They're not really knowing what they're doing, but they're not knowing that they're being programmed to to buy a certain thing, or to think certain things, or to automatically, like when you renew your phone, or you renew your plan, or you're being programmed. And as marketers and manufacturers, that's what we're doing. And same thing in life. We're just doing things without really knowing why the hell we're doing, but we're just being subliminally programmed and led.
Man, great great analysis and questions to round out this barbershop talk with the topic, Marco. It's some great points to question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say let Marco talk more.
I think we're done. I think we all like listening to you, man. It's all good.
I say let him talk.
If I keep talking, you know where it's gonna go. Anyway, why you like fat hoes? You have me enough. But why you like fat hoes? But why though? So that's where it's gonna go.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, dude, that last question was solid. Because I mean, as soon as you asked it, I started going back to when I used to do it straight up.
Not only the last one, but the one before that, it really kind of invoked the thought for that last one he asked that was coming up.
Yeah. And I know you asked Aegon. I know you did, but that question really is something we all should be asking ourselves.
Exactly, yeah. Because if we have not been asked that, or if we have just not thought about it, it's something that we should. Because, like I said, we are all programmed. We're all pretty much just all the time just being led, and we don't know it. And then we have to be like, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing here? Right. And why am I doing it? And who am I doing it for? And who the hell is already pleasing? And so you start asking yourself Aegon questions. You're like, wait a minute, what? And then it's like, man, it comes clear, and it becomes much more pleasing, the experience of life.
Yeah, man, great points.
Yeah, that was solid. That was solid.
And Aegon, and the question they asked it was from a place of love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was from a place of, because, like I said, somebody asked me, and I never took it as, when he asked me, I was like, yo, wow. I'll never forget. I'll never forget his name. I'll never forget his face. I'll never forget where we were. I mean, I'll never forget the uniform I was wearing when I was asked that. And it just, it's been after, I guess, in my life, after the question and before the question. BQ and AQ.
Yeah, man. I ain't lying. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm sitting here taking notes on this one, because when I start my stuff, man, yo.
Yeah. Marco did. Isaac's right. He came through with the straight jewel bombs out of nowhere, man. These were very potent questions for all of us to reflect on the choices that we make. That's why I think with this story, the jealousy segment of it, the aspect of it, and how to approach through life, and how Joseph showing how he approached through his life, despite all of that, all of the detractors, how he kept focused on his purpose and didn't allow that to shake him and waver him from that purpose. I think it's something that we can look at and use it to apply to our everyday lives. So great stuff, Marco.
Yeah, that last question definitely circled back to the Joseph thing for sure. That was solid. That was solid.
Yes, saying I'll need to replay this too.
Yeah, well, thanks, brother. Thanks for having me up.
No problem.
Thank you, gentlemen. I will talk to you later. Shalom.
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 See you in the next one. Peace out, Ega.
Yes, sir. Peace. Well, all right, man. That's a royal.
But that question, man. Just me personally, that question, that's a love question to me. That's that's a question of one man caring enough about another man to ask that question, and that's something we should all do with each other. I definitely had to say that.
Yeah, yeah. It's man, yeah, great, and wonderful way to end the stream.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it
Wonderful
is.
point.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Man.
is.
So I guess while I got y'all here, y'all got any last words? And thank y'all for coming up and having this great conversation.
I'm glad I came. I really am. This was good. This was good. I enjoyed myself from Aegon to Marco to MOT to Eisen. This was a good one. Personally speaking, this was a good one. I enjoyed this.
It was. It was. It was.
But
Aegon. Oh, unless you got more, Lawrence.
oh no, I'm sorry. I was mumbling under my breath. I'm sorry. I didn't know you heard that. I'm sorry.
Aegon.
Oh, thank you for having me up. Shout out to you, Lawrence. Eisen, I appreciate you bringing me on your show a lot. Thank you to Marco for coming up and asking that question, because I ask a lot of people questions and stuff like that. And people say they're good and whatnot, I don't know. And then it's like somebody says something to you, like as soon as he said that shit to me, like, well, after I explained myself, I was thinking at the same time, like I'm gonna have to take some time on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel kind of weird.
Yeah, it was some very questions that made you kind of reflect on yourself and your decisions, and just for everybody, in general, listening. Great questions.
Yeah,
Great questions.
And if you don't mind, Eisen, I'd like to say one more thing, if you don't mind. To Aegon, that question is a powerful question. It hits anybody who's asked that question hard and deep, and with rapid speed. If you don't mind my saying, just older brother to little brother, don't internalize it to the point that you make it a negative. That's not what it's meant to be.
Right.
Internalize it in the sense that you become more introspective, that you start asking questions, because it's not easy. Because for the most part, most people don't start asking those questions until they get older anyway. It's a very blessed moment when you got another brother who forces you to look at that earlier, because it puts you ahead of the game. You don't have to wait till 40, 50, 60 to start asking. You start asking it now, and you start doing course correction. But above all things, I don't want you to internalize it negatively, because it's not. It's a question we all have to ask, all of us. And like I said, I used to be that way myself, and it took me quite a while to figure out how to get past that. As a matter of fact, if I had figured it out, if I had somebody like Marco when I was younger who asked me that, I promise you, I never would have married my first wife, because that was my motivation for a lot of it. Because everybody said it's the right thing to do, or they were telling me to do it this way, that way. So yeah. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but the bottom line is don't internalize it in a negative aspect, man. That was truly a gift. It really was.
Right. No, you weren't rambling at all. I think you brought to light to point out that, Marco asking these questions, it wasn't to berate or belittle anyone. It was done out of love and respect for us to actually be introspective and learn from the choices we make, and learn how to approach future choices in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and that's for everybody in the chat too. It applies to as well.
Exactly. Everyone. But yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
And on what Marco just put in the chat, we're afraid to ask ourselves, but ignoring the answer hinders us. I think also we have to consider the fact that people aren't just afraid to ask. We're not just afraid to ask ourselves. Many don't even know to ask themselves questions like these.
No self-awareness.
Yeah. No awareness, period.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, they just don't even know to even ask these questions. So no, it was great questions for introspection there at the end by Marco. When he said he had these Aegon questions, I didn't know what he was going to be asking.
Well, I thought he was coming up to joke, to be honest
No,
with
no,
you.
I figured he was gonna be asking some, but golly, I didn't expect any any gemstones like that. And I know he has them, but
Yeah,
it was really mind blowing and very needed,
yeah,
and very appropriate too. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
and it's a double blessing. It's a
Yeah.
blessing. It's a blessing to Aegon for getting that, and it's a blessing to you because it proves what you want to build the channel for.
Mm.
That was the purpose through the study of the word and everything else. You
Yeah.
know, even if it's people who don't study it
Yeah.
themselves,
I
but
agree.
it makes you think, and then you get brothers who come up and start asking those questions like that. So it's a testament to your channel too. It's a double blessing, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Like I said, I appreciate all my subscribers and all the support that I get and have gotten. From from people from different walks of life. I appreciate these questions. It's very I think it's a testament to the respect and that we received from each other on here.
Yep.
To show that who's really about what they're about, and to show that we can ask these questions to each other, and we have the type of respect that we're not going to get all out of pocket and emotional about these questions, but it shows that level of maturity, as well as it shows how far much more we may need to mature as far as with our own growth. It's great.
I agree.
And needed to have these type of reflective questions to show to help us understand where we are, and also where we want to go further. Great questions, and much appreciated from Marco. Much appreciated.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Yes, I am too. Yes, it was. Golly, I'm gonna be honest. I think this is probably one of my favorite streams.
Yeah. Man, I'm ready to go out there and be brain, man. Take over the world. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I am. I am too.
Because
But
like I said, everything we talked, like I said, Marco, MOT, Aegon, got me thinking about a lot of things in a different way. And like I said, it's like it was going there. And then Marco threw that question out. It was like, boom. Okay,
golly.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, leave it up to him, to that Benjamin Pratt. Coming all up, coming all up in here, dropping Oscar-worthy knowledge. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, great stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've got no more after that, but we'll be here again next Sunday, trying to finish up this jealousy stream with the story of Joseph. And I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank everyone who took part in the panel and in the chat as well. We had a really great discussion here today, and a lot of knowledge was tossed around here. And man, it's much needed. Thank you for all my new subscribers. And while I mentioned it, please, Soul Provider is having a stream today at 7. So everyone go over there.
Is that 7 Central?
Yeah, 7 Central. My bad. 7 Central time. Put in the chat again. And he's having a stream on anime, continuing the top 10 anime fights. So everybody go over there and support that. But that's all I got. Thanks for everyone for coming out. Great.
Hit that like button.
Yeah, hit the like button on the way out. I know know we got one dislike, but oh well.
I think that was that person called My Turn.
I ain't really worried about it.
Yeah. I don't even know who that is. That's the first time I ever seen that.
Yeah. But it's okay. They don't really bother me any at all. With discussions and subscribers we have here, I appreciate everything here. So but yeah, y'all be blessed and be safe. Peace.